All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Trigun Stampede, episode 9.
Yeah, 9.
Aye. 9.
9. We're in that backstory, baby. And I'm excited for everything to go terribly. I'm also excited for maybe some answers because
I think we're getting some, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's gonna be answers, pain, coach. Like that's
and maybe some cope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I walk alone, the only road that I have ever known.
Because with the whole history that they have at the beginning of the show and everything, it makes sense that there would have been some point in the past where Nye was like, hey, here's what I'm doing. You wanna come along?
And he's like, no.
No. Yeah.
Don't know where it goes, but it's home to me. I walk alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for violence.
I'm excited for nihilism.
I'm sure he's got plenty of that.
Yeah. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Nye, hello.
This is for you, Vash. Oh. Let me accompany you, brother.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. All right. We're going there.
Yeah. You've always been better than me.
Yeah.
Wait. Maybe
What?
it's their plants
What?
dying. Maybe
Possibly.
he didn't kill all the plants then. Yeah. Wasn't his efforts.
Oh, shit. Production limit.
They were using them too much.
What?
Well, they're clearly manipulating some kind of magic in order to, you know.
Right. Oh. Oh, that's very fun.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Vash is gonna come in here. Oh shit. So the statue of the one that was crazed and was one of them dying.
Oh, maybe. Now, he was already kind of opposed to humans in general, so...
By the way, hi. I'm here just a second too late.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow, and they're really gonna... Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Shit!
Yeah, if it was just this, I'd be like, if not for the whole, I'm gonna make them crash kind of a thing, which could be tied to the same kind of motivation.
Oh, it is probably. I think it's probably the, what a waste, you're burning up all these people
Right.
as slaves for your... Wow. Yeah.
I was freeing our people, yeah. Whoa.
I
mean, that also sounds like what humans would say.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, come on. I mean, how did humans find plants in the first place unless you made them?
mean, that's probably the terrifying shit. God, the animation.
Yeah.
Like, even if they were created by humans, it doesn't matter. Like,
right.
They have will. They have
Right.
You know.
But that's the best case scenario, right?
Yeah, it is the best case scenario. That's true.
That's the only way in which those words have any potential merit to them.
Oh. Walk with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sith Lord, yes.
Yeah. I mean, look at the facts. They held you captive for no reason. You know, they started to care for you, but that's kind of just as a pet sort of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and so it begins.
yep.
Yeah. Whoa, he's scared of this, yeah. Oh. Whoa, shit.
Oh.
Well, there's his gate.
All
Never
right,
mind.
well.
Never mind.
Okay. Oh.
Oh, it's an actual gate too.
Yeah.
Right.
Not like a metaphorical. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. That's. Huh.
Holy shit.
You'd kill one of your own for them?
Wow.
Okay.
What a confrontation, too.
Yeah.
All of it decided right there.
Yep.
It all clicked. It all clicked together.
I love it.
Oh, so that flashback before wasn't necessarily the present. It's just... Or no, it was, because he's in black now versus white then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it hasn't been that long.
It's probably been another 5 years or 10 years. Oh, no, it's been a while. It's been like 25 years.
Yeah. So I'm guessing like a 3 or 4 to 1 aging process.
Oh, no, this is the present. Yeah, cool. There you go.
Yeah, but it's not gonna last, those little bugs. Wait, what?
Oh. They put themselves into cold sleep. Gotcha.
Gotcha, cool.
So they have like scheduled wake up times for like a week, and then they go back to sleep for a year, you know?
Right.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Oh,
No, different kind of plants. This place only requires like 2 or 3 plants to maintain.
Wow. What are these? They're flora. Wow.
Neither human nor worm.
Yep. Seeds. Sure.
Oh,
That
and
is
then that
ambitious.
could theoretically make an environment that plants could survive in?
Yeah.
Well,
there's a way for Nye to get what he wants here then.
right. Although, but the thing is, Nye still has a very... How many plants would die in order to get the world to that
No,
place.
totally,
right?
a lot, and that's the point.
And humans to be like, it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. You know, it's like,
はいはいそんなの自分で
Yes, yes.
ah, shit, didn't mean to do that.
Caught him up to speed, yeah.
まさかお前ミリオンズナイブズと仲直りできるとか思ってないやろ。誰も殺さない。
You were willing to try when he was slicing people up in episode 3.
昔の俺みたいだな。バッシュが噛みついて何もかも白黒はっきりつけられると思ってる。
Wow.
バッシュは強えぞ。一緒にいればそのうちわかるさ。
I mean, he has no mistake about that.
He's not talking about physical toughness, though.
Yeah. Yup.
間違いない。
Shit. All right. Well, let's defend the spot.
Oh. Oh, shit.
どこですの
7都市3番目の町へようこそ。ここはジュライ。墜落したプラント船さん。
Okay, cool.
僕らワムズが共に生きるべきは人間かプラントか。
Well. Well.
Okay.
ここが僕らの星だからさ。
You guys came here.
君たちがずっと昔
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
それに君たちは前科者だしね。君たち人間はかつて暮らしてた。
Oh, and that's why you guys had to leave and come here?
だから民船に乗ってこの星までやってきた。
Cool.
地球はもともと資源にあふれた豊かな星だった。君たちはそれを何もかも崩す。
There it is. What a waste. Oh, shit.
これは
ナイブスがあちこちから取ってきた。
Yep.
なぜ連れてきた？
Yeah.
君の指図は受けない。ナイブスも僕を客人として迎えてたはずだ。
Okay, that's fun.
教えてください
この星のためになるのは人間、それともプラント？
Huh. Huh.
君はどっちだと思う？
I mean, yeah.
There's the whole question right there.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
It's kind of fun. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching our full-length reaction to Trigun Stampede Episode 9.
If you would like to see the discussion portion for this episode, go check out the link in the description.
And we'll see you there.
This was delightful. That was great.
That was
I loved
so
it.
fast-paced and wonderful.
Fast-paced, to the point. We got the motivations.
We now know
Make
everything.
Tons of sense. Yeah.
I mean,
And-
almost everything. I mean, so it's very simple. Plants were created to basically be the means by which humans might save themselves from themselves.
right.
Because, well, they ruined Earth by, turning it into an uninhabitable wasteland for
Right.
whatever reason or method. Doesn't
However long
matter.
it took,
The point is that's what happened. And at some point, humans developed plants.
Yep.
They cloned them in such a way that they could basically beat their own consumption, basically. They would
Right.
generate enough stuff that they would never want for more.
And the problem then is that, oh, hey, you made a thing that now you're entirely dependent on.
Yep.
Like your full survival cannot go on without these things.
Yeah,
Now,
it's what AI could be, you
right.
know?
Now, to be fair, there is the theoretical possibility that once they reached a new place and, terraformed it or whatever, then, hey, they wouldn't need the plants anymore. But let's be real. Just like
Well, they
with-
would need it in, X number of years.
Sure, yeah, exactly,
That's
right?
the problem, is
And,
that
we
we don't know.
But even in that best case scenario,
Best
let's
case
be real.
scenario, yeah.
No, the humans would still use the plants because why the fuck wouldn't they?
Yeah.
It's the whole thing of the people that they get to, and it's yes, they're dying, but like we can get one more charge out of them.
Yeah, we can feed them. We feed you. We
Right.
clothe you.
I mean, hey,
This is literally the this is, oh my God, you know what this is? This is the logic of parents that basically
I wasn't
basically
even
say
thinking about that.
this is where it gets really fucked up, because this is a very, I wanted to make these stories feel as intimate as possible given how grandiose the philosophical discussions are.
Sure.
Is that this is basically the parent that goes, I raised you. I fed you. And now you exist to serve me. And it's like, no.
Is this the
I'm
thanks I
alive.
get? Yeah.
Yeah, it is exactly that. It's the idea that once you turn 18, or you're an adult or what have you, now you have to spend your entire life serving me. Now, obviously there's extremes. And there's also ways in which there's nuance and there's opportunity for middle ground and stuff like that. But that's not the discussion that's happening here in the show.
This is one example of things that can happen with that logic. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And I appreciate that we get this, because I feel like a lot of the times people like to think that they are more empathetic than they actually are. And a lot of it is really dictated by convenient little environmental factors. Do we get an internal perspective on a plant? If we don't, then, we don't give a shit. Oh, no, we did get one, Vash, and he's for the subjugation and eradication or slave labor, basic, lifetime servitude slave labor of this race. Therefore, it's okay, right? Because that's what he's been raised to believe.
Right.
That's and let's be real. There is a very real dependency that the humans have now, right? Their entire, even if there wasn't the crash and all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, they're on a planet that they can't sustain themselves.
Like their entire civilization would fall apart without these things, right? So
it is falling apart.
It is falling apart, right? Yeah. Even with them, So yes, you are absolutely in a situation where it's the survival of these two, like species basically are pitted against each other. Right. What happens there? Well, I'll tell you what doesn't happen there is that you run around and you're like, hey, make nice. This is all gonna be fine. Just don't fight. Like, that doesn't really address the issue at hand.
Well, it denies nature, but also in some ways it's pushing off the problem. It's basically doing what humanity did with Earth, is saying, we'll figure it out eventually. We won't change anything.
Oh, no,
we'll just figure it out.
Right.
So this story has a very cool message in that it's in order for the story to work, where both sides of this end up in a better place than they did before, you, Vash, have to make up with Nye. That's why Wolfwood was like, do you think you can do it? And he's like, well, I won't kill again. That's not answering the question.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm actually kind of glad that you've resolved that, Vash, because in a lot of ways, what's going to solve this is not you killing ever again. It's not going to be you killing Nye. Like, it's not. It's really not. Like, the story will basically just end up being one where the cycle will hit again. Humans will terraform the planet. They'll make it one where the plants end up having a slightly better chance of surviving without human interference or what have you. But they'll ultimately just be subjugated again, and then humans will ravage this planet, and then the cycle will repeat again, some million years from now, or 10,000 years from now, or whatever.
Maybe you get to some point where you say that's an acceptable loss, and it's the best of what we have. And so when you're dealing with large numbers like that of the billions of people of the human race or something like that over the course of then, however long that a planet is able to last, a very long time.
Lives.
Yeah, you're trading lives, and maybe at that point, counter argument, maybe at that point it would be better to just kill Nye, because then there's no resistance, and that makes for a better
chance of one of them surviving. But then also potential
better way of life of the subservient race as they're being utilized.
Well, sure, but you could look at this another way, which is that we actually have a third party now.
You're right, that too. Yeah,
which actually makes this way simpler of a conversation. The worms go, so we obviously care about our own survival, sure. But actually, we just want to know which side here is going to utilize these plants more effectively. Who's going to benefit the most? Who's going to get the most out of this? That's kind of a weird zero-sum game here. I think the idea that the worms are looking at this as the conflict is inevitable.
Right.
There's no way of knowing necessarily who's going to win or what have you.
We drew the unlucky card of suddenly there's 2 new species on our planet
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are wanting to be dominant. Originally, it was just us.
Yeah.
And we were okay with that.
Well, they became dominant.
No,
That's
yeah,
the
they
point.
became dominant. Yeah. No. I say
they're okay with it.
they were okay with that tongue in cheek. You know,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course
yeah.
they are, right? Like, and so now it's we certainly don't want 3, so we'll definitely take 2 over 3. And maybe eventually it's the 1 over 2. But for now, let's just go for 2 over 3, right?
Sure, but even then, it's gotta end.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta end with the brothers connecting here, because Nai, your motivation is a really reasonable one
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to why you're doing this. What you're doing clearly is the classic villain problem of, if you did things like 20% differently, if you did things 40% differently, you wouldn't be a villain. Like that's basically the issue here.
Right. And let's be real. I think this is potentially the way in which he got people to work with him, in that it's hey, humans, you need us or you're fucked. I have issue with the way that you're using us.
So I'm going to direct the way that you use us.
Exactly. And so then, as a result of that, now Nai is going to be so or has become so incensed by all of the crazy shit that has happened to his people, that he's not really wanting to play nice because no one else has been playing nice. So, what's the point of that anymore? But theoretically, it's okay, cool. I'm going to make sure that me and mine are protected. And as thanks for basically helping me get my people out of this, I'll try and make sure that you and yours are taken care of, that we get you to a place where you are okay, right?
Turn
to
you
whatever.
guys into hybrid plant creatures or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Something along those lines, right? If we become the same, then there's no othering, and then maybe we can coexist. Nai has been able to sustain himself at the very least, so that's theoretically, if that were to be done for everybody, then perfect. Nobody goes hungry, right? Like, it's fantastic.
So that's the perfect problem we have right now for the plot and the struggle here. The animation with showing Nai's just fighting was fucking awesome.
I love
then
that we got
also
that more visceral, physical side of it rather than just telekinetic.
Right, but also the idea that the telekinesis thing comes later.
Right.
We don't know why that is, but we'll get into that eventually. Vash loses an arm because he opens up a gate.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Nai knows about his gate. What he's basically found out between this point where he chopped off his arm and the later point in episode 3 when he's like, so have you done that again? Have you done that thing again? What I think Nai figured out was that not only what that is, but why that could be actually helpful.
Yep.
Is that it's something that could just...
I think that's where his telekinesis comes from. As a theory.
Well, I'm not done
go
yet.
for it.
I'm just basically bringing up the idea that if Vash's thing is that he gives life or what have you, right? He's tapping into the higher dimension that the plants are tapped into. If Vash can open up a gate to the higher dimension, then the plants can leave to go to that space.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And they can just be done with all this. They won't have to tap into it. They'll just leave humans to their own shit.
Solve the problem of these people being stuck on the same rock by making another rock.
Well, that's my point. Is that the higher dimension is not a place necessarily that just exists in the, psychics, kind of atmosphere or what have you. It's actually a place that could be physically traversed to, theoretically, with this gate being the means to go there.
Yes. I think you're right. I think because also I very much consider this episode to be primarily about Nai with regards to us understanding him.
Yes.
And so we get this understanding of him in the past, very crisp, very clear, understandable. I fully pretty much agree with what he's doing, right? Like, it's a fucked situation, but yeah, I mean, hey, there you go,
Yeah, his problem is that he just views things in too black and white of a
Right.
sense.
And so if he comes across a human that maybe is trying to help or something like that, it's no, you're in the way. And there's a part of it where they might actually be, because there's that comfortable ignorance that people might like to sit in. But his perspective on the gates in the present felt very different, where it was you haven't opened your gate again. It felt like this is something that I am familiar with, and you haven't done anything like that.
Yeah, that's why I don't follow your theory as much, really.
What I'm thinking is that this would then tie to the whole thing of the human justification of, but plants can't survive without human care because we created them and all that stuff, right? They'll use up all their energy instantly.
In a burst, yeah.
Yeah, in a burst. But because they are a different kind of plant, they were actually born and all that stuff, they have these human characteristics and things, that the gate there was basically Vash starting to do that thing of the burst of energy, right?
No, I follow, yeah.
But then Nye potentially or probably saved him by cutting that off,
he
right?
absolutely saved him.
Yeah. And then what ends up happening is Nye ends up figuring out the way in which to, access his energy himself, right? Which is foreshadowed by the not needing to eat and all that stuff. But then, he gets the telekinesis and everything. And so that's where it's that's where he basically unlocked.
Right, but I think that if he actually did have access to his gate in that sense there, then it ends up in a way where he might not need anything else. Like, what does he need at that point? He can kill all the humans just fine. He doesn't have anything limiting him at that point.
I think it's
I think that's go and be a marauding force, just wiping out all humans. But that's not what he's doing. He's going and gathering plants. He's got
right. Well, he's gathering plants, but he's also working with humans. Which, if he had that kind of with the power he displayed in episode 3, why would he need other humans other than his pawns, right?
Exactly.
To coordinate, because he can only be in one place at a time, right?
Yeah, but he's not worried for time or anything like that. So I think that the power and all that is not the gate thing with Vash is more unique than than you're implying.
Like of that specific manifestation of it, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. Where I think then as far as the motivations for Nye, given that it's been 150 years, right? Like how
is he not won?
How is he not won
at this
yet?
Point? Yeah.
And this doesn't entirely feel like it matches up with the Nye that we saw in episode 3. But if I were to look at this top down, with what we have so far, I would think that is actually the testament to the fact that he is working with humans and specifically being like, I'm going to get you to where I'm at because 1, I think we're better and we're the way it should be and all that stuff.
Sure.
But 2, that's how I can solidify your loyalty because now you will truly be seeing things from our perspective. And also, and so
his goal is terraforming. His goal is
exactly.
terraforming.
Yeah.
If he actually wants to terraform and not just kill all humans, then he has to figure out the means by which to do that.
Right.
And he needs enough plants probably in order to do that, but he won't have the energy to do that. So either he needs to eventually come and grab Vash and be like, okay, I've assembled everything. You're my final piece.
Sure.
I've been keeping track of where you are at any given time. Go and grab you, bring you over here. Save all these plants, Vash.
Well,
you're going to make them all die? No. Give them your life. Come on, do it.
And so this is where I want to tie things back to the whole idea of what the lady talked about with the garden and being like, hey, yes, it's not a small number of plants that need this, but hey, by doing this, we can reduce the load on the plants and all that stuff. Theoretically get to the point where the whole place is terraformed and then, hey, that's a potential harmony, right?
Yeah.
Nye's doing the same thing, but from the different angle. Instead of I'm going to use plants until I don't need to use plants anymore, and then we can live in harmony. I think Nye's thing is I'm going to use humans until the humans are just like us, and then we can live in harmony. Theoretically, the fact that Nye would basically give everybody plant upgrades, that's not a problem. The reason why it's seen as a bad thing is because of all the scary experimentation that he does, right? But the thing is that that's still basically just what the humans, the lady was talking about with the...
Yes.
We'll use the plants until we don't need them anymore. Right?
They're both bad.
Right.
That's the best point about this. Both sides are basically just wanting to use the other for their own survival. And it's not even really survival, but more in like a
Quality of life.
yeah, just having a certain quality of life. And that's the thing that's fun about this, is that you can look at this and go, well, this is all only a problem just because the plants are sentient or they have some like actual
Sure,
like
yeah.
will or something like that. But that's kind of the
Right.
problem, is that all these things that people are finding as I need this, I need to have this, otherwise we won't survive. Humanity's around. Humanity might not be thriving.
Sure.
It might be losing to the elements of the worms and the sand and the heat
Right.
and the lack of
And
water and all that
only
other stuff.
cities are kept up as a result of maybe plants
Right.
powering them, or
Right.
who knows.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a way. I'm sure there's a way that they could start slowly transforming the planet in a specific area.
Sure.
The parts where they're at the poles, where things are maybe the most potential to have
Or just getting to a point where there are
water,
some
or not as hot potentially, or what have you.
or just getting to a point where you can find resources on the planet that you can harvest. Yeah, limited resources,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But to get to the point where you can do things without plants.
Right,
You know?
and then that's the problem inherently, is the idea that both sides are either patient enough that they're not going to divert themselves from their goal, or impatient enough, or impatient enough that they're like, no, we've got to do this. We've got to do this
Right.
here, and that's fun, because I can't argue too much for either side or against them, in that, yeah, I think fighting for your survival, and when it's actually a threat of your survival, not just like they're taking away my
Right.
pretty
this
flowers
thing that I like. Yeah.
No,
Yeah. That's the other thing that's so fucked about it. It's lady being like, "Oh, aren't these flowers great?" Yes, have that reminder that there is
I mean, they
something more
generate
and all that stuff.
They generate oxygen. They generate
Right. This is part of the eventual terraforming process, all
Yep.
that stuff. But from the other angle, it's we have these pretty flowers, and all it takes is the ongoing life sacrifices of a different species than our own.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You know?
Yeah. But that's the point, though, is that what happens when you get into the standpoint of, we get enough science that we learn the souls within animals, and all these animals that we've slaughtered over the years and years and years of our race, that goes into, so every time we carnivorously, ate into these things here, we were actually killing not just thinking, living, feeling, breathing creatures, but it's that no, their intelligence and their actual like thing there was such that we could have been communicating with them if we had the technology.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The
and
only
then
reason why we didn't do it is because we weren't hearing the screams,
Right.
or we didn't understand them, or we put them in boxes somewhere where we couldn't intentionally hear them.
Yeah, exactly. You can just sort of forget about it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's already what's going on. Like that's already what's going on.
I mean, there's so many extra layers that you could take this to as well. Exploitative corporations that are then using labor and all that stuff, or any number of different things where that basically people suffered in order to make this modern convenience happen or something.
Right.
like
There's
that.
not anything that's beneficial to the survival of humanity that's coming about from these things. These are all things that are working towards more conveniences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not like talking about people farming or people finding out ways in order to, provide us.
No, it's the
I want my thing delivered to me.
it's the Amazon
2 days.
Yeah, exactly. That's
rather
my
than 5 days.
right
from now.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good show to kind of poke at that, because while we can't go too in depth into it, it's a very fast paced show.
Sure.
And
even
used a very specific, very fantastical concept to get very much directly at the point here.
And even the things that we're bringing up as far as commentary for the show are things that the show isn't necessarily going into, because the
Not really.
response that the lady gives of, and then eventually it'll be sustainable, that's sort of being given as this is the correct option. This is the proper way that it's supposed to go, and just sort of glazes over the fact that, no, you still have a species that you're subjugating and, and using as slave labor power or whatever, right?
Right, so then the ultimate goal would be then to have the plants and the people actually wanting to work together. That's then
Right.
where the answer comes, is that you have to have Nye and Vash make up so that we can, as plants and humans,
Right, then
decide
you have a
to work
possibility
together.
of
Right, coexisting.
Yeah.
Actually finding some because this is the part that's kind of being glossed over from the villain side of things as well, is that can the plants be used in your plan without it being subjugation either?
Right,
Because
like-
they're doing kind of the same thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, the whole idea of the 40-hour work week, right? Where it's like, okay, this is the thing that you do that is basically your contribution to society, so that way you can partake in the benefits of society. That let's be real, while many of them are conveniences, many of them are very much necessities, right?
Oh yeah.
and so then
eat. I need to.
yeah,
have
exactly.
shelter.
Right. And so, oh hey, as a result of that, now you have what you need, and then
For some of us.
hopefully, right, in the ideal situation for that scenario. And then, oh hey, the rest, you do whatever you want with the rest of your life, basically. And that's, considered to be an equivalent exchange or whatever, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. That's fun. We have a show that's actually giving us the space to look into this, and then I didn't really get the cut from them being suddenly with Meryl and Roberto being suddenly with the
Yeah, to have been taken away by the worms. Like, okay, this person's body is just a
well,
an
no,
amalgamation
they
of
were
bugs.
literally here in this base here,
right.
and then we cut to them suddenly just waking up here.
Right, and the glass is broken or whatever, but like
What glass is broken?
at the top of the plant dome.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with?
The only thing that I could think is that they were basically whisked their way through that. The bugs got in through there, even though it doesn't look like there's any kind of opening that would accommodate a person. But yeah.
Oh,
and
I thought you were saying that. Oh,
and so
this
they got
crack-
whisked away to July.
well, right, but doesn't this crack? I mean, doesn't it look more like a crack rather than an actual full-on hole?
It does. And so that's something that I didn't quite get from this one, but also
Yeah, that's just a crack.
they didn't seem to give any kind of reasoning as far as why these two were taken and then exposited to. The idea that the worm is basically like, hey, I'm doing something against the wishes of the people that I'm working with. Okay, I like that. But I still don't understand why they actually cared about telling these people. Unless it's your reporters tell the story of what's actually going on, because...
Well, I think that it's more we don't understand the worms yet. So
Sure.
Yeah, we can go with that there. But the idea that the plants are here, being kept in a form of stasis, they are being supported in such that they are alive. They're all alive.
Right.
But they are not in the happy blue state because these were the dying plants specifically. These were all ones that were harvested when they were at their lowest kind of amount of energy left.
Well, and that's where I'm kind of...
So let
Okay.
me keep cooking here. The idea that these plants are about to die. So from Nye's perspective, he's saving them all from the humans that would use them until the end here. But in order to keep them all here, you have to use energy power and what have you.
Yep.
So there's a contradiction in Nye's plan in that the energy necessary in order to sustain the plants beyond...
If there's some of it that's coming from other plants.
Yeah. Or at the very least, if there's some of it that's coming from something else, he's basically just flipped the roles here for a second. And we now have the equivalent of the humans in the stasis pods. But it's the plants now, and we've got humans and what have you working
and the
in such a
parallel
way.
there is definitely the humans in the stasis pods. I think is kind of exactly what they're going for.
Directly visual,
There is that part of me that is wondering, because I think when the whole idea of the blue and red plant was brought up at the beginning, there was a notion of like the red one's like corrupted or something like that, or maybe it was just as simple as it was dying. But there's this part of me that's wondering if they're going for like it not just being about whether or not they're dying or not, but something else. I hope that's not what it is. Like, I hope that it's not some element of like,
We have to go back and check episode 1 or 2, But then the question, who will benefit this planet more, humans or plants? Yeah.
And basically the struggle of this show is, why not both?
I know both, they're both cool twins. They have things that, the other needs, and we still don't know what Nai's thing is that he can do.
Yeah.
They sidestepped that here in the backstory of what is he actually... Well, he makes the knives. We saw him make the actual knives come out there.
That's true. So
making specifically knives is kind of a...
Yeah, like, okay, it fits with his name and all that stuff.
Right, but maybe he makes metal? Like, does he make, like, a specific type of metal? Does he...
Yeah, I don't know, because... Yeah.
Does he make just...
I feel like it's going to end up being something where I think we were off about the Vash being the one that makes life or whatever, and that he was actually just talking to the plants, and that's why I was kind of worried that it might be something where it's not about their actual... How much have they been drained versus their... they needed a pep talk or something like that, And so then what Nai has is he has all this energy that he's tapped into, and so he can create matter, which is fairly basic, but he can also do the telekinesis, manipulate the blades, all that stuff.
Yeah, that could just be tech for all we know.
Potentially, yeah. And I mean, they talked about the higher dimension. That is a carte blanche for whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That is a blank
the show
check
needs it to
whatever,
be. Like,
whatever. That's very true. But all right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.